And welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to 500,000 subscribers. We literally picked up 2,000 subscribers yesterday, thanks to you. So let's do it again. Hit subscribe, watch, comment, and share, because the insanity, I say it every day, the insanity is not going to stop. Now, look, Trump's UN speech, it garnered a lot of criticism yesterday, and he seemed to spiral a bit afterwards between, conspiracy theory, that the UN sabotaged him. He then had some change of tone on Ukraine. And then ultimately, Jimmy Kimmel's show coming back last night really set him off. Now, yesterday, after the UN speech, Trump posted this on Truth Social. Let me show you what he wrote. In it, he writes, "It was a great honor to speak before the United Nations. I believe the speech was very well received. It focused very much on energy and migration/immigration. I have been talking about this for a long period of time, and this forum was the absolute best from the standpoint of making these two important statements. I hope everybody gets to watch it. The teleprompter was broken and the escalator came to a sudden halt as we were riding up to the podium. But both of those events probably made the speech more interesting than it would have been otherwise. It is always an honor to speak at the United Nations, even if their equipment is somewhat faulty. Make America great again." Well, as I know you saw yesterday, because it did very well, our episode, I showed you it actually happened at the very beginning, when they literally just stepped onto the escalator. Now, Trump tells a great story, that we all know. But the notion that this was well received, all you need to do is type into Google Trump and UNGA, United Nations General Assembly, and you will see the criticism, rightfully so, by the way, that's there. It's enormous. And anytime there's criticism, what happens? Well, Caroline Leavitt goes on Fox. With who? Yeah, that's right. Jesse the Jerk-Off Waters. And threatens, listen to this, literally on television, they threatened that if the United Nations staffers sabotaged the president on purpose, they should be investigated. Play the clip.
All right, Caroline, it does appear to be sabotage with the escalator and the teleprompter. What is the White House going to do about that?
Well, Jesse, that's definitely what it appears to be to me, and that's why I put out a statement earlier. Well, there was some concerning reporting over the weekend from the London Times, as you pointed out, that UN globalist staffers were basically plotting to set up the President of the United States. And first it was the escalator, then it was the teleprompter, and then Katie Pavlich from Town Hall, who we offered a seat in the press pool to cover the President's historic speech today, noticed that the audio inside of the room was much lower and different for the President of the United States than the previous speaker. So when you put all of this together, it doesn't look like a coincidence to me. And I know that we have people, including the United States Secret Service, who are looking into this to try to get to the bottom of it. And if we find that these were UN staffers who were purposefully trying to trip up, literally trip up, the President and the First Lady of the United States, well, there better be accountability for those people. And I will personally see to it, Jesse.
Good.
Yeah, she will personally. And it's sabotage, right? By the way, did you notice that in the video, there are two escalators going up? They were literally a half a foot onto the escalator that wasn't operational. Why didn't they back up and then take the escalator that's directly next to it? Sabotage. Well, if it was sabotage, wouldn't you shut down both? I mean, all of a sudden, Caroline Leavitt is now an electrical engineer. What does she work for, Otis Elevator? Now, meanwhile, Jesse Waters goes even further. This guy has no limits, no limit at all. Goes even further and suggested that there be a military strike on the United Nations. Maybe the FCC should look into this violent threat on live TV. Play the clip.
What's going on with the escalator? What do you think?
Yeah, they sabotaged them.
Yeah.
And they could have hurt the First Lady.
Yeah.
Trump would have fallen and he would have gotten back up. But, you know,
they would have blamed it on his rhetoric.
And then they sabotaged the teleprompter.
Yeah.
I mean, this is an insurrection. And what we need to do is either leave the UN or we need to bomb it. It is in New York, though, right?
Yeah,
There
it
could be
is.
some fallout there.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, in fact, directly across the street, you jerk off, is Trump World Tower. Yeah, let's bomb it. That's just a great idea. The notion that you would even say something so stupid really should be investigated. Meanwhile, Laura Ingraham, she claimed that Democrats and CNN didn't understand how pivotal Trump's speech actually was. Play the clip.
This speech was a masterstroke, but the cerebrally challenged over at CNN, I don't think they have the capacity to see how pivotal it was.
This was not a normal UN speech. We could say that with confidence. It read and sounded more like a MAGA stump speech than a speech to the assembled world. He attacked the UN itself. He took credit for great reductions in migration into this country, and then he said to U.S. allies in Europe, your countries are going to hell. He attacked not just renewable energy, but climate science. He said, listen, I'm always right.
And the pylon continued all day long because
Yeah, look, in my Substack of today, I call it Trump Shreds America's Global Standing. I want to be very clear about something. Now, I know Laura Ingraham, maybe she considers herself to be a Talmud Chacham, a genius amongst geniuses. Here's how I start my Substack. When a president stands at the podium of the United Nations General Assembly, the world is watching. It's not just another speech. It is a moment where America defines itself to 193 nations. The words spoken there, they ripple outward. They shape alliances and trust and the fragile sense that there's at least one nation capable of leading with decency. And then there's our president, President Trump, because on Tuesday, he treated the world to what happens when the teleprompter fails and the id takes over. He started out, I'm happy to be up here, nevertheless, and the way you speak more from the heart. If what followed was from his heart, then America's heart has been hijacked by hate and anger. Now, later on, Trump then met with President Zelenskyy. And right after that, he posted this on Truth Social. Let me show you what he said. In it, he writes, after getting to know and fully understand the Ukraine-Russia military and economic situation, and after seeing the economic trouble it is causing Russia, I think Ukraine, with the support of the European Union, is in a position to fight and win all of Ukraine back in its original form. With time, patience, and the financial support of Europe and, in particular, NATO, the original borders from where this war started is very much an option. Why not? Russia has been fighting aimlessly for 3.5 years, a war that should have taken a real military power less than a week to win. This is not distinguishing Russia. In fact, it is very much making them look like a paper tiger. When the people living in Moscow and all of the great cities, towns, and districts all throughout Russia find out what is really going on with this war, the fact that it's almost impossible for them to get gasoline through, the long lines that are being formed, and all the other things that are taking place in their war economy, where most of their money is being spent on fighting Ukraine, which has great spirit and only getting better, Ukraine would be able to take back their country in its original form and, who knows, maybe even go further than that. Putin and Russia are in big economic trouble, and this is the time for Ukraine to act. In any event, I wish both countries well. We will continue to supply weapons to NATO for NATO to do what they want with them. Good luck to all. I got to tell you, that's some run-on sentence in terms of a post. I also want to turn around and say that it is so disturbing the way it starts out that Trump finally now understands the Russia-Ukraine situation. Well, okay, I understand things change. I get it. Things change. And maybe they've changed so much that now it's time that we protect an ally versus an adversary or somebody that is playing you again and again and again. Maybe now Trump finally realized somebody with half a brain in that inner circle is saying to him, Mr. President, he's making you look foolish on the world stage. Let's give him a little taste of his own medicine. Because that's what I think is going on here. I think he's sending a message to Putin. We are now going to, through NATO, notice he doesn't say America, but Europe will supply it through NATO, and we, of course, supply it to NATO, that this is actually something that could bring real damage right into Moscow, right into Russia Central. Now, President Zelenskyy was then asked if he felt Trump changed his position on the war. Listen to what Zelenskyy had to say. Play the clip.
President Trump has indicated that any sort of peace deal, if it comes, with Ukraine and Russia, would end up with Ukraine losing some territory to Russia. Have you accepted that reality, or what concessions do you think, if you got to a negotiating table, you're willing to make?
First of all, it's important that today we had good conversation with President Trump, and I think he understands for today that we can't just swap territories. It's not fair. It's not real.
So you think his position has changed?
Yes, I think so. And God bless it. I really count on this, on continuation of his attitude to the territorial question and the question of our sovereignty at the end of the days. And I think that it's not about territories, it's about the position of Putin. He will continue. If we will give them more that he really wants, he will continue. So the question how to stop the war is just to stop Putin's ambitions, to change his position to this war.
Yeah. And last night, because if that finally, maybe Trump was feeling up, last night he was a little unhappy because Jimmy Kimmel returned to air, which again angered our president, angered him so much. Let me show you what he wrote. In it, he writes, I can't believe ABC fake news gave Jimmy Kimmel his job back. The White House was told by ABC that his show was canceled. Something happened between them and now because his audience is gone and his talent was never there. Why would they want someone back who does so poorly, who's not funny, and who puts the network in jeopardy by playing 99% positive Democrat garbage? He is yet another arm of the DNC, and, to the best of my knowledge, that would be a major illegal campaign contribution. I think we're going to test ABC out on this. Let's see how we do. Last time I went after them, they gave me $16 million. This one sounds even more lucrative. A true bunch of losers. Let Jimmy Kimmel rot in his bad ratings. Well, again, we're talking about here the President of the United States of America. Now, Kimmel didn't hold back yesterday. A lot of people were sort of questioning how the monologue was going to go. He goes on and says that Trump celebrates people losing their jobs because he can't take a joke. Play the clip.
And I am a tiny part of the Disney Corporation. They welcomed me back on the air, and I thank them for that. Because I know that unfortunately, and I think unjustly, this puts them at risk. The President of the United States made it very clear he wants to see me and the hundreds of people who work here fired from our jobs. Our leader celebrates Americans losing their livelihoods because he can't take a joke.
Yeah, let me also be clear that Kimmel also explained that there is a bigger threat to free speech here than we realize. Play that clip.
He's gunning for our journalists, too. He's suing them. He's bullying them. Over the weekend, his foxy friend Pete Hegseth announced a new policy that requires journalists with Pentagon press credentials to sign a pledge promising not to report information that hasn't been explicitly authorized for release. That includes unclassified information. They want to pick and choose what the news is. I know that's not as interesting as muzzling a comedian, but it's so important to have a free press, and it is nuts that we aren't paying more attention to it.
More than 6 years ago, I was reincarcerated, bringing me to a total of solitary confinement of 51 days. That's on top of the year that I was already there. And I fought like hell. I went on every television station. I did Substacks. I did YouTube videos, had my Mea Culpa podcast. We went on every show, MSNBC, CNN, you name it, ABC. And what did I talk about? I talked about federal court judge, 30-year judge, Alvin K. Hellerstein's decision on my habeas corpus petition, which of course was granted, and demanded my immediate release. And in it, the court stated they find that respondent's purpose, respondent, of course, being at that time the Trump administration, in transferring Cohen from release on furlough and home confinement back to custody was retaliatory in response to Cohen desiring to exercise his First Amendment right to publish a book critical of the president and to discuss the book on social media. Accordingly, respondents are hereby enjoined from any continuing or future retaliation against Cohen for exercising his First Amendment rights. I have been yelling this forever, 6 years into the void. Now, look, I know I'm not Jimmy Kimmel. I'm not on air 23 years on a show. Probably neither are you. And that's the danger. And that's why I keep saying day in and day out and day in and day out, help me to grow this community. My biggest fear was that exactly what they did to me, that they're going to do to somebody else, and they are doing it to people right now. And they ended up stifling Jimmy Kimmel, having him taken off the air. Fortunately, ABC Disney, because of us, not because of Judge Alvin K. Hellerstein or my decision, but because of us ending up boycotting ABC Disney, walking away from Hulu, ESPN, and ending up hitting their bottom line. Did they make the right decision to protect our First Amendment constitutional rights? And that's why, my friends, I am imploring each and every one of you, help me to grow this community. Because by helping me, you help all of us. So help me by subscribing, watching, commenting, and sharing. Share this with everyone that you know. And as always, thanks for listening. Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. I mean, we're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.